This is eFootball 2022. We're on Xbox Series X. This also used to be known as PES, Pro Evolution Soccer. So, this is the latest entry in the long-running football/soccer series. And wow, this is absolute rubbish. So they've moved over to Unreal Engine very poorly from their original engine. So all of the features, all of the content that you're used to is basically missing, and it looks like absolute rubbish. So it claims we're getting a 4K resolution here, and I guess maybe that's just like the output because, yeah, this game looks rough. It is, the players and stuff look jagged, the crowd animation is horrible. There's something about like the visual look and style of it that is such a significant downgrade from the years prior. Like look at the crowd in the backdrop. It's just so poorly animated. Most of the fields are gone. Most of the teams are gone. A pile of the modes are gone. The animation quality in the players is terrible. And wow, what an absolute travesty for what was actually a decently competing series at one point in regards to the comparison against, say, FIFA. Wow. It's really hard to even express the disappointment here. Like, I haven't been playing this series for a long time, but I've been reviewing it pretty steadily over the last few years here, doing it year to year to year. And this is a travesty for this franchise, an absolute travesty. Now, it is free to play now, so you literally can just play the quick matches. I guess there's supposed to be multiplayer. It seems like it was taken down or something due to issues. That aside, it doesn't seem like there's really any seasonal stuff. There's some club events you can take in. They basically ported over a mobile game and was like, hey, here, this is your new experience now, enjoy. That was a terrible kick. And yeah, so getting back to it, they claim 4K as the resolution, but it's it really doesn't look like that. It must be upscaled. 60 FPS, no auto HDR support. There is cross-gen play, and it's just like these local matches, but there's not really many arenas. It seemed like all the weather variants were either turned off on any of the stadiums. I tried to turn them on. It says that there's snow and stuff, but I didn't see any options other than dry. And it's just, it really, they took everything from this game. So the last year version was basically just a cheap roster upgrade and whatnot. They charged extra, half price or whatnot, and they just wanted to provide, kind of an updated roster thing. And even that was kind of lazy and fine, but this is just unacceptable. It's basically a goddamn mobile port that they brought over and onto the console. And I know there's long-term plans to keep this updated and stuff, but wow. Even the perspective and the look of the game is just terrible. I will say one positive is they have an audio setting for streaming, so that's what I'm using now, so I don't get copyright issues, but it's just the way the players move and stuff too, the formations, it seems like such a colossal step back in so many ways. Why wouldn't you pass to the guy beside you? And I just, to say I'm disappointed would be an understatement basically with this one. I just wonder what they've done. This is horrible. Honestly, just horrible. And you can go back to my past reviews and see my thoughts on the games over the last couple of years. This one, it's just what were they thinking with this? I really don't understand it. It really is quite perplexing. What is going on here? What? It's just weird. Yeah, okay, I don't need tooltips. Anyways, well, I guess I do after getting that last goal scored on me. The AI also seems a little bit more vicious and or lucky, I don't know. Anyways, it's just, it's so weird to have this shift from what legitimately, to me, was a competitive option aside from FIFA. It honestly was. It was a nice other option. It played fine. It had a variety of different modes. They were trying different things. And it's just, what is this local match using 9 pre-selected teams, challenge events? Like, where are all the modes? Where's all the options? Where's all the content? Like, and you notice, like, every single time a cinematic happens, because it's Unreal and whatnot, and this is, like, an issue with it if you don't render things properly, you could see it's completely blurry with no textures, and the textures load in a moment later, but by then the cutscene's done. So the cutscenes even look atrocious, and it's just, it's astounding that this is the direction they wanted to take with their long-running, decently well, sort of, I guess, cherished for some people, competitive, like, football/soccer simulation. I think they killed the franchise with this, or maybe this is the start of the end. But wow. Like, there was a level of, I want to say to some degree, prestige with PES. And it's just they've taken all of that goodwill, I think, and just completely thrown it out the window. Okay, why would you pass right to the other player on their team? So again, some of the passing and stuff in this just seems awkward and doesn't quite work like it used to. Like, even the gameplay and the movement of the players, just, it feels really off from the previous years. I don't know how to describe it, but it just seems really dumbed down and simplified, and it's so bizarre to me that they would, you know, do this kind of thing to their game. I really did actually enjoy doing my, like, yearly review of this one and see how they were doing with it and seeing what they were changing. And, you know, even if it was a minimal upgrade last year, it was a huge step up from this. I guess you could think of this as, like, some kind of awkward rebuild year or something. But, yeah, this is hugely disappointing, and just, I'm disappointed to the highest degree. It's so hard to dive into further because what am I going to talk about? There's no modes in this game. like there's no real, like, extra content to talk about. It's literally just, like, basically the one thing. So take anything that you might have enjoyed about this series in the past and just wipe it off the board. I guess if you literally just want to play quick, easy matches, it's free, so yeah, that's about it. There's no other real, you know, interesting or redeeming or interesting factors to this. They took something that was, you know, decent and enjoyable, and they've removed the soul out of it completely. Like, they've just really just butchered it down and cut off what made PS interesting and intriguing. I guess the wear on the fields is kind of a nice touch, but that's not really, you know, a new feature for a sporting game, right? Like, it really isn't anything too fascinating to see. And I'm astounded. Just even the cutscene quality is such a step down. And I get that it's not easy to, like, you know, switch to a new engine and whatnot, but wow, I think this is something that's going to take years for them to fix up and or, like, add to. And it's just absolutely shocking that this is the direction they would go with the series. Like, they had their own engine and everything for this, and it's just, why would you switch over to something that you really don't seem to know what you're doing with? I'm so shocked. Like, here are the teams. I guess we'll do Barcelona. Do we get to pick? Okay, I guess it's Manchester versus Barcelona. And you can get, like, there's minimal settings that you can choose, game speed, but it's like, you know, they've basically taken away most of the stuff. And I'm guessing since it's free to play, they're going to be, you know, adding stuff later on, but it's weird. Like, see how this is, like, blocked out? And I tried different stadiums, and it just seems to be blocked out. Like, we did Emirates last time, and it's just like, you know, can't have rain. Winter, can't have rain. And I'm just kind of like, what is going on with this? Can't get rain there. I'm just, like, what have they done? This is the biggest thing. Is like, what is going on with this game? Like, this franchise, it's it's weird. It's like PS2 era animations. It's like, well, like PS2 slash original Xbox, I guess, considering we're reviewing this on the Xbox. But you know what I mean? It's just, what happened? Like, what were they thinking? They're like, oh yeah, this works. Were they just like, we got to ship this out? And I think this is releasing like later in the year compared to when it normally releases too. And I guess you could throw a blame on like COVID to a degree, but like I don't know if you can. I just so like even online as multiplayer, it's like 2 players, local 2 to 8, I guess. And it's just what is going on? I guess it loads kind of decently quick, but I mean, when haven't sports games loaded decently quick in the past? Like I'm honestly trying to think of, you know, redeeming factors to what this is, or different modes to talk about. Because usually I sit here and I actually do like a bit of a meaty look at the different things you can do in the franchise mode, like the modes and the game, and taking a look at what PS is. And I usually talk about it fairly fondly, you know. I'm like, okay, you know, it's nice to have an actual competitor to FIFA. It's nice to have, you know, a game that does look decently fine. It's nice to have all these different modes present. And while I was always like, they're not really upgrading things a lot, at least there was an effort to be a competitor. And I think they've made a horrible mistake with this. I think they should have just done another quick roster update if they don't have the ability to add anything crazy and new to it. And at first I was like, oh, going free to play, that's a smart tactic. That's going to allow them to compete better with FIFA, right? But when you look at the finished product, it is astoundingly bad in every way. And I'm just trying to come up with almost different words to describe the level of what is going on. Like, it looks like, I don't know if it's cartoony is the right thing to say, but there's something so off with the visuals. And I don't know if the way that YouTube presents it's going to be better. But look at the crowd animations. And like, I know PS wasn't necessarily the shining pinnacle of, you know, game technology in that, but it was a fine looking series. It really was. It played well. They were always changing things up with the mechanics, always doing something new with it, and it just plays like garbage. Like, I'm just trying to think of the redeeming factors of this, but you know what I see when I see sports games make big changes like this? I think of like the NHL series and how it went to absolute garbage for years before they were able to build up. You know, switching to a new engine can be a lot of work, and it can take time for you to catch up. But what I've seen here is like probably one of the worst franchise transitions in gaming history. I'm trying to think of another series that has done this much wrong to their established franchise like this. Like, it's easy money every single year just to put out the same thing, basically. And the direction is mind-blowing. Like, were they trying to put together a regular version of the game, and they're like, well, you know, what if we just make it free to play because no one's going to buy this? And it's just like I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt because, you know, it doesn't cost anything, but at the same time, I take a look at where this series has come from, and wow, it is mind-blowing that they thought that this would be a good direction for the series. Come on, guys, seriously. I can't fathom what they were thinking. Honestly, it's terrible. It really is terrible. And I know they're like, oh, you can play it on all the platforms and stuff, but it's like they just scaled up a mobile game, and they thought that was okay. Like, I couldn't imagine being like a super diehard fan of this game. You'd be in like just tears, like legit tears. Like, it's not even worth the free cost of admission. Like, seriously, like, go play FIFA instead. Seriously, you know, in the past I'd be like, this is a really nice alternate option. You don't like FIFA, you could try this franchise. So I am heavily suggesting ignore this game. Don't even download it for free. I don't even think it's worthwhile. I mean, if you're someone that doesn't, you know, have the money and you just want to do, you know, a few matches here or there of quick play, you know, that's cool. That's cool. But if you're looking for something of value to actually put your time into, get FIFA. Buy last year's version of this game. I think it's like half the price of a full game or even cheaper. Ignore this one. Pretend it doesn't exist. There are better things to spend your life doing. Don't support this, even in the free play sense. It's, yeah, they've really done, to me, this is a damage to their reputation, to what was actually something that I thought was a fine competitor to, you know, FIFA out there, a fine alternate sports option, and no, this is complete and just complete utter rubbish. It's atrocious. I can't believe that they would actually release it like this, and I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. I don't take this lightly. I try to be serious about things, but the seriousness is, it's like, I don't know how they recover from this. Did they say offside? Huh? Really? That was... Huh. Okay. Play other things. Have better times with your day. I mean, what the heck? like, why? Why did this happen? And it's just like, because I remember, like, each year, you know, I went to E3 and I checked out PS early, and they were talking about all the cool stuff they were doing as developers, and they had such pride in their game and the new tech they were doing, and they were serious about competing. And it's like, what happened to that studio over that time? You know, like, this doesn't compete anymore. This doesn't have promise. This doesn't have a future of, you know, interesting stuff. They're giving you nothing and being like, well, we'll maybe add content later if it is successful. Like, what are they hoping people are gonna buy here as this free-to-play game? Are they like piecemealing stuff that wasn't ready? Do they realize that this is kind of like, it's almost as if they're giving us a beta for free, and then they're being like, well, you can buy the actual game later, you know, that's gonna come, but we don't have it ready now. I am amazed that they thought that this was acceptable, because that's what I'm thinking right now, is like, maybe down the road they're gonna be like, hey, we've got teams, but you gotta pay like $20 to get more teams or uniforms or something, and I'm just kind of like, what is this? Like, there's like, what happened to all of the content? They were always like, oh, we're so happy to have all these partners with different, you know, they had some like really obscure leagues and stuff that were represented in PS, and it's just, I don't know if they've lost licensing to a lot of things or what's going on here, but seriously, don't buy into this. Don't support this. They need to go back to the drawing board, or they need to actually, like, seriously reconsider what the heck they have been doing with this atrocious excuse for Pro Evolution Soccer. And I'm like, again, I'm not even like hyper passionate about the franchise, but at least I was like, oh, this was a, you know, a fun thing to review once a year. You know, I actually felt like I, you know, could play it well and I could have fun with it. And it's just, it's all gone now. How did they recover from this? Where did they go from here? I mean, we'll be back again next year, I guess, to see if there's been any changes, but yeah, this is an easy delete off of my hard drive. Yeah, that's it's not even worth the next gen storage that it requires. It's not worth taking up space on my drive, that's for sure. And yeah, that's about all I can say. Stay away, find something else. There's other games to play, and yeah, I guess I'll see you for PS 2023, and hopefully they put something together that actually is deserving of your time. because I can't imagine being a fan of this franchise. You'd just be heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken.